This military convoy in northern Italy is carrying a grim cargo. 30 coffins with the bodies of 30 coronavirus victims, headed to a small village for cremation because there are too many COVID-19 dead in the nearby city of Bergamo. And with Italy recording its deadliest day of the outbreak yet, with another nearly 800 deaths, there could be more convoys like this needed. Spain now has the third highest number of infections worldwide, with around 25,000. The death toll is past 1,300 now. To help, Madrid and Barcelona are converting exhibition centres into field hospitals for the sick. Germany has had a spike in confirmed cases, up to more than 16,500, and there are now temporary fences on its border with Switzerland. The German government is considering whether to bring in a full nationwide ban on going outside. Where much of Europe...
And that whole ban, that actually spread to different countries other than this country they're talking about, Italy. Italy, they say having over 400 deaths a day. You understand that other countries, like from my country, in Trinidad and Tobago, they actually put a ban on a lot of things. You understand, certain businesses have to close down. You understand, there was even talking about calling something called a SOE. You was hearing him talking about that in politics. You know, there was contemplating whether to call it or not. And in other countries, you're seeing this similar thing. In New York, imposing things like curfews. Certain businesses had to be closed down. This going on worldwide, especially more in Western countries. You know, that the countries under Western governance. And we know everything right now is prepped for that mark. Whereas everything in a chaotic state where if they was to implement the mark, whether forcefully or you know, just by asking people if they want to take it, they would comply. Why? Because time's coming where it'll be more difficult to get food. You understand? Time's coming where people won't be able to take care of themselves, so they'll be completely dependent on the government. If people not working, they have no way for them to actually get paid. And if there are people that are actually not selling goods or food, they have no way for people to access them. And we know with all these things pertaining to like executive orders, like the government has, you know, certain rights and powers to be able to seize food stock and all these different things. They could actually hold the country at ransom. And if people don't have to eat, what will happen? And it's the same thing that happened in ancient Egypt. If I could find that quick, right? It's something that happened in ancient Egypt also. So I pause to try to find. I don't want to look for it while our waiting process. All right, Genesis 7. So Genesis 47, I'll start from 15, right? It's saying when money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, "Give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence? For the money faileth." And that's exactly what's going to happen in this time. You understand? Something similar things that happened to ancient Egypt will happen in this Egypt also, but just in a different way, right? So verse 16, and Joseph said, "Give your cattle, and I will give you for your cattle if money fail." And they brought their cattle unto Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses, and for the flocks, and for the cattle of the herds, and for the asses. And he fed them with bread for all their cattle for that year. So they were completely dependable on the land, let me say the government of Egypt, which Joseph was the second in command, right? They were completely dependent on Egypt, the citizens. And it's the same thing that's going to be going on in this modern day Egypt. The people are going to be completely dependable on this on the government itself. And that is the situation the government want them to be in, because when you're completely dependable on somebody, then you have to do what they say. It's the same reason why the Lord put ordinances in place where women were not supposed to own land, and they weren't allowed to be independent as they are now. Why? Because if they were completely dependable on their husbands, they would have to do what he says. They understand? So it was like a way of putting things in place where they weren't able to, be rebellious or to be how they want to be. They would have to follow orders. And the virus that's going around right now, and the different executive orders being passed and all these things happening, it actually paving that way for the people to be completely dependable on Egypt. And similar things like what happened back then, like what I'm reading, might take place again. Right? Say verse 18, right? Yeah, I read it say of the verse 17, it say where rich cattle of the herds and for the asses, and he fed them with bread for all their cattle for that year. It say when that year was ended, they came unto him the second year, and said unto him, we will not hide it from the Lord. You see how that our money is spent. My Lord also hath our herds of cattle. You see our money is spent because eventually it will run out. Even though you might buy extra food, as the apostles say, and so forth, because you see what it is going on, eventually it will run out. You understand? And that is when the Lord will have to step in to preserve you. Right? Our money is spent. My Lord also hath our herds of cattle. It said there is not aught left in the sight of my Lord, but our bodies and our lands. Right? It say, wherefore shall we die before thine eyes? It say, both we and our land. It say, buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants unto Pharaoh, and give us seed that we may live and not die. It said that the land be not desolate. And that is the mindset that people go be in. As the scriptures say, he that tried to save it, his life shall lose it. When that hour coming into play, where you go either suffer starvation or some kind of affliction in some way, or take the chip, a lot of people, they wouldn't want to go through that, so they will take the chip. Yes, and just like how they said back then, it say let me say exactly how it say. It say, buy us and our lands for bread. That is exactly what they're going to do. They're going to sell the self to be taken care of. You understand? And that is the same thing that happened in ancient Egypt, and something similar like that going to happen in this modern Egypt. Now, we don't know if it's going to happen, with this epidemic, or if it might happen in the future, but we know similar things like this are going to come to pass. But we're seeing, with this epidemic going on right now, this paving the way for these things to be simple for them, because people already started going to paranoia, people already started panic buy, food already started running out, restrictions already being put on people so that they could and can't do certain things. Right now is the perfect timing for them to start ushering this. You understand? And they could even start ushering it in already, and we don't even know, because you're seeing a lot of videos put it into like military jeeps coming in. I'll see if I could play one or two of those clips in a while. But military jeeps coming in and all these different things. Right now, everything is set perfectly for them. And like I say, they could already started doing it in certain places, and we just not seeing it on the media. But who knows?
Europe has already gone with its lockdown and social distancing measures. The UK is following. Economically, culturally, and socially, this is a country that has been transformed in just a few days. By order of the government, the UK is now pretty much closed. Pubs, cafes, restaurants, gyms, museums, nurseries, schools and universities all shut for the foreseeable future. The capital's buses and metro system are empty. Don't use them unless your job is critical, people in London are being told. This usually teeming metropolis is quiet.
Well, I think it's good news. I think it's good news in terms of that they're looking after people that are losing out on their wages, the fact that they're stopping, hopefully, or spreading by closing down the restaurants. Yeah, I think they've done the right thing.
We went out last night for the last hurrah and sort of tipped up a little bit higher than we should have, I suppose. So just to sort of keep people going along, and it's sad for the smaller businesses, but hopefully the government will kick in and sort of support people along.
The government is trying to stop a wave of panic buying that has stripped supermarket shelves bare this week.
Be responsible.
And that's the next thing, putting limitations like I was talking about. Even in this country, when you're going certain groceries and so forth, they're giving you a limit as to what you could buy and how much of it you could buy. So this is not just there, it's not just in the US, it's all over.
When you shop, and think of others. Buying more than you need means that others may be left without, and it is making life more difficult for those frontline workers, such as our doctors and nurses and NHS support staff, who are working so hard in such difficult circumstances.
To prevent total collapse, the government will prop up businesses and guarantee 80% of all wages. It's an unprecedented temporary nationalisation.
No, they're actually shooting them with that is not like normal bullets. They have like crowd control bullets and so forth. That is used on on people who are find a little uproar and so forth. But that's just for now. When the time come where they implement things completely, whoever don't want to comply, they'll get a real bullet.
What the fuck is this? Ayo, nah. Hold on. Nah, my nigga. Y'all see what's going on? Nah, B.
And I even had one I wanted to show also. I see my spec gate. It was like a train that was carrying trucks upon trucks upon trucks. Somebody I knew that posted it. There's trucks upon trucks upon trucks. A long stretch of those trucks.
Holy
They're not just bringing in those trucks for no reason.
Holy.
There are a long line of trucks. And you see it happening in different places all over. You understand it happening in many different places. They're preparing for something. They're getting ready for something. All that equipment they're bringing into the country. You understand? They're getting ready for something. You see it in movies like like Contagion. You see it in movies like Purge. Things pertaining to like martial law and crowd control and all these different things. You understand? The same thing going to happen. They show it in movies first, but it's going to happen. Devil is about to come down onto them, and it will become worse and worse until the end. Say Revelations 12:12, it say, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. It say, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. So he right now he trying to put things in place to rush to get a new world order in. And this right now, this virus, this situation and going on around the world right now, you understand, this could be a good means for them to do that. You understand, this could be a very good means for them to do that. Because right now, jobs closed down. It have people who are not able to make money. It have limited stocks to be able to purchase. Right now, the people in a vulnerable state, just like they was in ancient Egypt, and just like they are now in modern day Egypt. So all it will take now is just for people to start to go hungry, or for any other little situation similar to that. And then what? Take the chip or starve. And some will take it for fear, and the ones who would even not take it for fear of starving, they will take it for fear of their life. Because if whoever don't want to take it because of for being hungry, those classes are terrorists, and they will tell you, well, if you don't want to take it, you'll either be arrested or you'll be killed. And that is when that Jacob's trouble really going on, being full force, and that is what we want to see. That is what we're waiting on. But through the signs and the things that we see happening around the world, we know that is close. Right? So try to hold the faith. You understand? Resist that chip. Resist that hour temptation. If the Lord be with you. I hope it was edifying. Say shalom.